The Avenger is all about an equal spotlight for each and every character in Marvel. A lot of talk going around is focused in on galactic characters and the newly acquired brands. Let's take a step back and go over the Avengers and where they'll be in this upcoming phase. Just don't be surprised by some of the names in this list, and be wary of spoilers. You're welcome. We could have made this entry way more confusing than it needed to be at the moment. All we needed to do was call Falcon Captain America. And if you haven't seen Endgame, well, you were warned earlier. Fans of all ages were happy to see Sam Wilson get the shield at the end of Phase 3. He appears ready to hold that role and bring a modern view of the character to the forefront of the MCU, which happens to be the answer to the question we're all asking. Marvel is gonna have the new Captain America fill in with a few cameos and show off his new leadership skills in the 5th Avengers film. And on top of that, he'll be joining Bucky in a new Disney Plus series. It's not the same 3-movie arc that Steve Rogers got, but it's definitely a start. The keyboards are flaring up. Somewhere in the belly of the comment section is a viewer reminding us that Doctor Strange is not a member of the Avengers, which, sure, that's a true statement technically. But we're also technically not wrong. The minute Steve Rogers yells Avengers Assemble at the group that Doctor Strange brought together, he became an Avenger. He's literally the guy who assembled everyone there. So yes, he never joined the official group, but he definitely has the potential to join them now, and that's all we need to know to speculate. Everyone knows that Strange is getting a sequel in this phase. Rumors are brewing about him entering the Nightmare Realm too. Regardless, expect big things out of Strange. He seems to be one of the central figures that the writers want to focus on in this next arc. Remember when people used to complain that the MCU never lost any main characters? It was the central argument against the franchise early on. Their response was making the Scarlet Witch one of the unluckiest characters to ever live. In the first 3 phases, Wanda needed to grow up a lot. She didn't know how to control her powers early on and lacked a lot of confidence. Everything changed when she met Vision, and the two grew closer together. Now their relationship is a central part of her identity and her storyline, and without it, viewers have a hard time imagining what direction she's going in life. Well, the good news is that Disney's also expanding her role to their new streaming service. The even better news is that Vision appears to be coming along with her. We're not sure how the writers will make this work, since Vision appeared to be gone for good at the conclusion of Endgame. However, one thing is for sure. The Scarlet Witch is a way more interesting character now that Elizabeth Olsen is getting chances to dive deeper into her character's psyche. Okay, help. We're not sure how to process this development. Having Bucky with no Captain America is like having peanut butter without jelly. The two are made for each other. Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes are basically inseparable, yet Marvel managed to separate them. All that is leading to a cloudy future for Mr. Barnes. Clearly, the writers want us to believe that Falcon and Bucky are really good friends. The two are shown as close allies during the last few scenes of Endgame. The problem is, there's no other scenes that really prove that connection. The two don't exchange many pleasantries, and it's hard to buy into their connection right this second. Hopefully, their new show helps bridge the gap. Fans want to see the two working together as a new unstoppable duo. We're talking Hawkeye and Black Widow levels of compatibility. Otherwise, future endeavors like a new Avengers film will feel forced. Still, expect to see a potential cameo from the Winter Soldier during at least one other film in this lineup. It felt weird putting Bruce Banner on this list. He's one of the last remaining OG Avengers. There's one other one that we'll get to shortly, but Hulk is definitely the more recognizable. Sadly, we doubt you'll see much of Professor Hulk in this new phase. Let's face it, his time is up. His 3-film arc worked to perfection. Fans understood his changing character from Ragnarok to Endgame, and every decision and consequence in his life felt believable. Now he's faced with a new challenge ahead of him. Simply put, Marvel nerfed the Incredible Hulk. The Green Machine was this unstoppable force in the first phase, and they tossed him off planet for the second phase. Finally, Phase 3 found a way to weaken him by having him snap his fingers. Now, his arm is scarred and weakened. Audiences might get a cameo from him in the new Avengers film, but don't hold your breath. The extent of his presence on the team was reached a long time ago. Captain Marvel is the whole reason the Avengers exist, so yes, she counts as a member of the team. There's no arguing with that. We expect a lot of things from Carol Danvers in this next phase. She's now the strongest remaining Avenger. Well, she technically was always the most powerful, which is why she was off planet for so long. She was waging a one-woman war against the evil aspects of Kree civilization. Now it's onward and upward for her. So far, the writing for her character has been minimal. Fans could tell that Endgame Captain Marvel was shot before the standalone film. All of this means viewers can expect the character to come out of her shell more in the next film. Keep in mind though, many people criticized Thor and Captain America after their first film. Everyone figures it out soon enough. It just takes a little bit of development, which is what Marvel will do with Danvers in this next phase. Oh boy, things are looking grim for Peter Parker. He lost another father figure in Endgame, and the grieving process is clearly interrupted by the elementals. However, that's all Phase 3. Marvel appears to be using the web slinger to bridge the Phase 3 story into the new villains for Phase 4. Given that knowledge, expect Spider-Man's rogue gallery to be put to use in the next phase. That being said, we're more than positive that Parker will make another appearance in the next Avengers. Past that, the future is less certain. Perhaps he'll cameo in another film during Phase 4. However, the more likely scenario is that MCU saves their new face of the franchise for the bigger silver screen moments from here on out. Ant-Man appears to get a happy ending in the final moments of Endgame. Hope Van Dyne is back in his life, and his daughter Cassie has her father again. For the first time in forever, his life looks complete. No one is totally sure what that means for his future though. Scott Lang is the kind of guy who wants to help people and do right. We're just not so sure what opportunity there is for him in this phase. More likely candidate is his daughter Cassie. She could show up as a new member of the Avengers after Lang gives up his role. It'd be an excellent way to introduce a new version of Ant-Man that could be developed more in the next phase of films. So fans might not get Paul Rudd's funny quips, but expect big developments in his family life during this phase. Now this is the last original Avenger left on the list. Wow, it feels weird saying that, but it's true. When we last left Barton, he was grieving Natasha and figuring out how to move on with his life. The snap didn't erase his history over the last 5 years. He's got blood on his hands, and he needs to answer for it soon. Ultimately, we don't expect Barton to play a huge role going forward. Perhaps we might see him appear as a mentor for one of the newer Avengers, but it's kind of difficult to say. Another popular theory out there is that the group will see a new Hawkeye enter the ranks. However, Barton just got his family back. We doubt he'll be willing to put one of them at risk so soon. That theory may need to wait till Phase 5. Rhodes went on a long, strange trip to get to this point in his life. Heck, he even went through an actor change after the first Iron Man. The worst part is many fans aren't sure what they're supposed to take from his ending. War Machine is living the most mundane superhero life of anyone involved in the Avengers. His time with the team was brief, and honestly, he's been attached to Stark since the beginning. It's time for him to spread his wings and learn to fly. Many fans foresee a potential Disney Plus spin-off being announced soon. Many of his co-stars are already getting those kind of chances, so it makes sense that War Machine would get a piece of that too. You can't talk about the Avengers without talking about the man who started it all. Many people assumed that Fury was out of the picture after the screen time he had started to diminish. The film stopped needing his constant exposition and spy skills, and didn't need S.H.I.E.L.D. to hold their hand. Of course, by that point, S.H.I.E.L.D. was also no more. Captain Marvel changed everything though, and reintroduced Fury's importance to the plot. He's the man with the plan when you need to get something done. Granted, we finally found out how he got a scar, but that doesn't mean all the mystery is gone. There's much more to discover when it comes to his character. It's clear that Fury is playing a big role in Spider-Man Far From Home. He has a lot of screen time, so prepare yourself for an updated version of this not-so-tired character. We round out this list with one final inclusion that many seem to forget about, but Black Panther totally counts as an Avenger. He was a huge ally to Captain America for a few years. That alliance makes him an informal member of the team. His group up at the end of Endgame solidified that status. Everyone and their mother knows that T'Challa is getting another feature film here soon. After all, he seems primed to take over as one of the headliners. Sure, Spider-Man already has one of those spots, but clearly Black Panther is insanely popular. It makes sense to involve him heavily in any Avengers plot from here on out. That team will need a more mature leader. Expect T'Challa to lead Wakanda to a more prosperous future, and, in return, take up the duty of leading the next generation of Avengers. It definitely feels like a match made in heaven. Well, that's the countdown and all its big theories and rumors. Did we miss a key character or scoop? Please let us know in the comments down below and give us your take. And don't forget to support the Avenger by liking this video and subscribing to the channel to keep up to date. Until next time, everyone.